we had that session, that preview, and I got to see a lot of prospective students, as well as hear some of the craziness that you guys are going through with emails and being bombarded. So it's just
Oh
nice
yeah.
to kind of hear that from everybody.
It's definitely a lot of talk about doing online school and then like colleges converting over and like setting up the new systems and things. That was
Yeah.
actually something I was wondering about with Shriner. Are y'all working on an online course if need
I know
be, or is that
I,
not part of the plan?
for just in general, or are you speaking about like the upper level courses? I mean, the like, what was that?
Well, I'm asking about like just in case, you're not able to have people on campus this coming semester because of the whole COVID-19 situation.
So
I mean,
with
I know we're taking it day by day, but
yeah. So really, that's you already know my go-to answer. I know it's a copy, like a copy and paste kind of response, but really that is the honest response I can give you, and I think anybody else would be able to give you is it is a day by day. We're taking it right there with you. We wish we could give you a better answer. I wish I could give you a better answer and say like we're going to be starting this day, but if anything, we can put future dates and just really take it day by day and keep you updated as well as
mhm,
keep anybody updated with what's going on.
right. Yeah, I
As
mean, I understand
faculty,
that
we're kind of
completely.
preparing for all kinds of, we're being flexible. So we're preparing for all, all kinds of different options, just making sure that we're kind of ready for whatever comes. So we got you. We're just, at least
Yeah,
if we have to go online at all, even for even a class or something, um, we'll have more time to prepare, which is good,
yeah,
to really get things in place. So I know that there are people kind of working on making, covering the bases on all different angles,
right.
just so that we can take it day by day.
Yeah.
Hmm. And I've even been looking at like other online universities just in case, because like, oh man, what if, Shriner doesn't have the online programs or something? So I've been shopping around for that. I'd really rather go to like some place that has a real campus and has like a real face to it.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm noticing and hearing from a lot of students is really they don't want to be online. They want that one-on-one
Exactly.
experience. Like I know this is possibly second best that we can do. That you
Hmm.
can at least see me, I can see you, I can talk to you, you can hear me, and it's one of those you want the next step of just physically being within the 6 feet of somebody and just being able
Yeah,
to talk and like see their facial expressions and hear the cues and everything else.
right.
This isn't doing it, and trust me, I'm right there with you.
I teach communication and communication courses, and so it was kind of funny. We were just coming up on a unit talking about virtual meetings in my small group communication class. I'm like, well,
Oh,
this is good timing because guess what? We're doing it all online. So
oh man.
advantages and disadvantages, and they're experiencing it all firsthand right now. So
Yeah, that's good.
yeah, we can't do some of the activities that we would normally do. So we had to like split into virtual breakout rooms and try different leadership activities. And so it's probably so much better than if we had had to do this like 10 years ago, right?
Oh yeah. It's
Could you
amazing like
imagine?
the options we have now.
It
Could you
is.
imagine trying to do everything with MSN Messenger and AOL? That just
Mm.
MySpace.
I
Uh,
Mhm.
work I work with widowed people, and we had a big conference planned right at the end of spring break for 350 people in Tampa, and we couldn't do it, obviously. But you can't also just tell newly widowed people like, sorry, know you're self isolated and good luck, and so we switched and did the whole weekend all online on Zoom. We did all the
Oh,
workshops on Zoom. We even had a dance party at the end on Zoom for 2 hours, a pirate dance party. So people are really becoming pretty creative in how they, how we can try and make use of it to stay connected.
that's cool.
I have Zoom family time with my family every week. Are you guys doing that? Something like that? Like
Yeah,
distant family? You are.
we have
Yeah.
Zoom game nights.
What games are you playing on there?
Uh,
We've been trying a
well,
couple, but
it's a Mexican family, so we play Loteria. Loteria.
oh, I don't know that
It's
one.
Mexican bingo.
Mexican
Oh
bingo.
yeah. I've seen that.
I like it.
Yeah. So, and then my boyfriend and I, we were in the car, and we didn't have time to play it, so we had to download it.
Oh, right.
So we had to download it on our phone, and we use little gum pieces to mark the spots of what we were getting on our
Nice.
bingo cards. But
I
it
know
worked.
that we're doing exam review on Monday for one of my classes, for my small group class and interpersonal class, using Kahoot, because
Oh yeah,
you
I
guys ever
remember
use
that.
that? So we're
Yeah.
going to do the review on there so people can do it on their, I don't know, we'll see how this goes, but try and still keep the quality up and keep it interesting, keep it interactive. We lost a couple people who were on here a little bit. Oh, wait. No, it moves people on the screen, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'm
So
using
when
Zoom. I don't use Teams as often.
so when someone talks, it'll slip them into the place and kick someone out that's being a little quiet. It's really weird, but it's also interesting. I wish I could show everybody, not to
Right. I
just
feel like
call
that's
anybody out.
one of the only advantages of Zoom is you can see like 16 people or 24
Oh,
people or
yeah.
something at one time.
Yeah, that was one thing that I really liked about it that a lot of other platforms aren't covering.
Yeah.
Like,
And you can do the virtual background with the ocean in the background flowing around.
Yeah.
I think you can do
I
that on
haven't
Zoom
figured
too.
out how to do that. I need to learn that.
So
Well,
is
when you're on Zoom, you just go to the little button by your camera and click the arrow, and one of the options that pops up is virtual background.
Oh, gotcha.
So I know it does it on these too, but I haven't, and on Teams it has it also.
Hmm.
Because
Yeah,
we talk about it too in terms of like, if you don't want to invite the entire class into your home or your bedroom, right? That could be, just because we're having a live class, you can just put up a virtual background so people aren't, I don't know. Just give students a little bit of extra feeling of like, you didn't agree to have your whole class in your bedroom, so we want to make sure that people feel comfortable. So do you want me to talk about the comm program? You guys just want to ask questions? We want to just talk about your perspective programs, like kind of what you're interested in, maybe?
yeah.
So I teach in communication studies. I've also been chair of social sciences, and I work with first year students. So I'm kind of all over the place, and I work a lot with the psychology department too. So I think I can answer questions, but I can't remember. I'd have to pull up what majors were y'all considering?
Nursing.
Nursing, okay. And Zach, what about you?
So I was looking into, I've got like a whole bunch of things I'm still trying to figure out, but
Totally fine. Totally fine.
I'm really interested in journalism right now,
Mhm.
and also graphic design and visual communication. And so with that, I've been wanting to I've been taking internships and stuff to get more experience. But kind of like what people have been advising me is, if you can go for a different degree, then go for something that is not like artistic based, because ideally, your dream works out, and if that happens, then that's great. But if your dream doesn't work out, at least you have something else to fall back on. And so that's why I've been looking at engineering.
That's funny because I ended up with a PhD in communication. My first 2 years I had an engineering scholarship. I was electrical engineering full ride for a couple of years, and then I was like, it's just, I liked the work, but I couldn't imagine myself doing that forever. But that was just my personal experience, right? And that was a couple of years ago. So it might be different. So communication, I'll talk about communication just a little bit, and I'll talk about nursing just a little bit, and then let you guys ask questions. I don't want to talk at you. The communication program, we just branched into, now we have 3 different tracks. So we have one that's it's the applied track. Communication studies and communication design are 2 different things, right? So communication design is really like graphic design. They probably are changing their name back next year to graphic design. Communication studies, that's us. So we have 2 tracks, one's applied and one's media production and some media production and criticism. So we have, in the applied track, we have classes like conflict management, interpersonal communication, of course, theory classes, health communication. So it's more like strategic social media uses and certifications. So it's more like, here's what you would do in a job doing this, right? Then we have the other track. So that one's taking communication theories and stuff and applying them to professional situations. The other track is the media track, and that has classes like in video production, narrative production. So 2 video production classes. One is fiction, which is more like making a movie, and one is nonfiction, basically, which is more like journalism and reporting. And then we have sport video interviewing, because we also have a sport communication minor. We have quite a few students who work either full or part-time doing news reporting for sport for like the TV station in San Antonio, or so that's a minor in conjunction with the sport management department. So we have kind of this, so the applied is kind of, we did that so that students could be more intentional about like, here's what I really want to do with this. And so I want to take really hands-on practical courses toward that career. And try it out. And you can, and then the third track is a mix of both of them. And so you can actually kind of try it out and see which ones kind of speak to you and how you feel about it. Then the nursing program is great and very, very clear schedule of things, courses that you need to take. So the communication degree plan has like 36 electives, I think, in it. Nursing doesn't have that many because of the certifications and stuff. They have very few electives, so they have fewer. So you have to make sure that you get in with somebody in nursing and get the correct courses right away, so you don't you get things in a good order. But great reputation, getting students who are going through the nursing program. Obviously, there's a huge demand for it. Taking those exams and being successful and getting clinicals, getting the clinical hours in. I know that some of them do it over at Peterson Health. I don't know where the rest of them do it, but I've seen them over there when I've been over there doing Pet Partners. This is she's not registered right now, but she's a therapy animal. We used to go over there. She's kind of suffering from the COVID-19 haircut thing, the haircut at home.
I like it.
Cut your hair at home thing. So they do their clinicals, so but they have a really good program set up, well established, so set up for success. Engineering has been a 3-2 program where you start here and finish at a different university, and so you do three. It's the 3-2 program. So you start the first couple 2 or 3 years here, and then you go finish somewhere else. But I've heard that we're going to be bringing it all on campus, and I don't know the timeline for that.
Okay.
But
hopefully within the time.
What's that?
I said hopefully within the time that I'm, at Shiner.
Right. Yeah.
But do you think that that's, the right? Am I getting told the right advice to go with, have something to fall back on and then minor in communication? Or would you say just all the way go with?
I think one of the really good, like we have a lot of people who double major in communication and something else. So not a minor, but they double major so that they get more than, because if you minor in a class, you take 18 credit hours. You take 6 classes, basically. 2 lower level, 4 upper level. That's basically in almost all cases, that's the minor. So because we have so much flexibility in our degree plan, and you can even, it makes it really easy to double major with communication and something else. And we don't have prerequisites. We don't have sequential courses. And so we have a lot of people who double major in psychology and communication, marketing and communication, religion and communication. I'm trying to think of some of the other double majors who got through even in 4 years. No problem. So I think just my personal experience, you run the risk of, make sure you're going to class and you just take classes that you're actually do something that you're interested in, because you're talking about things that you're going to do for not just 4 years but the rest of your life. And the thing is engineering is amazing, and also so like more and more articles are coming out about how we need students who have this experience where they can problem solve and be good communicators. It's one of the top 5 skills always listed by employers that they wish that college students were better at, is communication. And so it really, but here's the good news. You can change your major a few times. You're good. You don't have to make any big decisions right now. So you come in, you're going to take some of your foundational courses, those core courses that everybody at campus has to have. And then maybe you take an engineering course and you take a communication course for that first semester, and then take a little bit of time to settle in. And like, you don't have to decide your career right now. we have enough flexibility and we're liberal arts school for this reason, so that you have time to do some exploring without really falling behind. And we can be even strategic if we know that we need to make sure we don't fall behind for 2 specific degrees. We can be strategic about that to make sure that you have a chance to explore, and just in case you went one way or the other, you're not behind. Okay. We do it all the time.
All right, well, that's good news.
So I know it's hard, and that's the thing is, he's like, well, I don't want to. I still sometimes think, hey, maybe I'd go back to school and do this for a while, you know, like. That's what I like about communication is I can use it in a lot of different areas. I do some with financial pieces, and I do some with resilience and college students and widowed people, but it does fit really well too as a double major with something. Not with nursing, not getting through in time. Because nursing just doesn't have that much flexibility because of the state boards and stuff. They have a pretty rigid. They do have. I don't want to discourage you. Like they do have some electives, but just not as many as some other programs. They're one of ours that they're all set at like below 36, except nursing is one of them that goes over or goes under in terms of how many electives they have. So what else do you want to know? You don't have to buy your books separately because your Schreiner fees and stuff, you just show up and pick up your books at the beginning of the semester. So that's kind of nice. You don't have to try and order them and wheel and deal online. And
I have a question.
Yeah.
So since there's no prerequisites, it all is in like the 300, 400 level. So do we just start taking those 300, 400 level like right away? Or how does that work?
So, and if it doesn't have a prerequisite in it, you can, like in communication, we really only have 2,000 level courses, and we don't have 1,000 level courses. We do 1,000, and instead of 100 and 200, we do 1,000, 2,000, but same difference, right? But yeah, so if you came in and you wanted to take interpersonal communication next semester or sport communication, a 3,000 level comm course, you could come in and take it, probably. Especially if you're trying to kind of get a feel for it and get your feet wet a little bit, because we don't have any 2,000 level courses even offered except for public speaking. Depends on how, we try usually the first semester, unless it's an area you think you're going to go into and you want to kind of try out one. You probably don't need to, because you can take some of those core courses. And then I always just say, take those core courses and then take like 1 or 2 classes in the area you think you're interested in. So if it doesn't work out, you still have those you still can use those as electives, but you got to get in there pretty soon and just test it out a little bit and see how you like it and kind of get involved in the community of it. And that's important. So if it doesn't have a prerequisite, you usually, I think your very first semester, you need permission to get into it. And then after that first semester, you don't. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. So if you want to come take sport communication, we could get you in there, but we offer it every other year. So I think interpersonal I think has a space in it still.
Okay. I feel bad about not knowing this already, but can you just explain what 1,000, 2,000 level courses are?
I'm so sorry, and don't feel bad about not knowing that. Yeah. I forget sometimes. So usually the higher the number, the more difficult it is. So 1,000 is kind of like introduction to the material. 2,000, you're getting a little bit deeper into it in the concepts. 3,000 is usually usually by your junior year, late sophomore year, junior year, you're taking 3,000 level courses. 4,000 would be senior. We don't have so many courses in all of those that like your senior year is only going to be 4,000 and your junior year is only going to be 3,000, and because you're going to be doing some mixing and matching. But in general, that's how difficult the courses are. So if you go look in our course catalog and you see a course number, like we have a 2101. The second number is how many credit hours it is. So usually all of them have the second number is a 3. 2301 is our public speaking course. It meets 3 times a week. It meets 3 hours a week, essentially, right? If it says 2101, like our practicum for social media, then it's only 1 credit hour. So the first number is kind of what level it is. The second one is how many hours a week it meets, basically.
So the 2 means that it's a 2000 level course, and then the 1 means it's an hour a week, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Cool.
So the first number, the thousands, the one in the thousands place or whatever, 1,000 place, that's how difficult the class is. That's kind of what level it is.
Okay.
Kind of gives you an idea of how much work to expect in it. You're probably in a 1,000 or 2,000 level course, you're not going to write a research paper. 3,000 you might, 4,000 likely that you're going to have to write a paper at the end. That's a little bit longer, so or some kind of bigger project like that.
Okay. Thank you so much. That,
Of
like,
course.
I can tell that's going to be useful later.
Right?
I've been wondering
No.
what those numbers next to courses mean. I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
I have a question. So throughout high school, I took it was a collegiate school, and so we were doing our general education associates. Would any of those apply to my prerequisites for my nursing?
I couldn't say that with 100% accuracy. Do you have to deal with this at all?
For me, it would be a question to the registrar that would be able to really decipher, and this goes back to almost Zach's question, is they look at those numbers that are on there that are associated with it. If it's 1,000 course, 2,000, and the registrar would be able to tell you that what the equivalency is and say this would be considered this class. It's either an elective or it takes care of these courses.
Okay.
The other thing I wanted to tell y'all, and then you can ask some more questions, but I don't want to make sure I don't forget. One of the new things we're doing this year in the fall is faculty are allowed to teach. We're having the first year course is called IDST 1301, is interdisciplinary, right? 1,000 level, 3 hours a week, 1301. So everybody who comes in takes that course. It's a first year course. And instead of having it be specifically in like study skills and college life, we're allowing some professors to teach a passion course, so they can teach about something that they're passionate about, and we still are covering things right about how to be successful in college, but you're going to get some questions or a survey or something that says like, here's a list of those courses and those topics, which ones are you most interested in taking, kind of rank them. Like I'm doing one using superhero films to talk about resilience, what resilience looks like. And then like, are they really being resilient? Are they using resilient behaviors, and kind of how we transfer that, because resilience is my area that I focus on. And so there's one that's doing some mindfulness and meditation, journaling, one that's doing, I'm trying to think of what some of the others are. Well, they're escaping me right this second. But anyway, so that's what you might get a question about that. That's what those questions are about, because then you can take a course that's kind of in an area that you're really kind of interested in, and still, of course, learn about how to navigate college. But I don't know, I'm kind of excited about it. I'm super excited about it. So we can talk about Thor and I don't know. What else do you want to know?
courses are instead of what?
We just used to teach it. We used to teach it more as here's an introduction to college life and study skills. And so now we're taking that, but we're really taking. Oh, I know one of them is the great questions. One of our English professors is doing one that's like the great questions in literature or in life, I think. So just kind of given it a fun context, a more robust context to talk about some of these things and get connected. So
Well, that's great.
And I'm super excited.
That somewhere else about the intro how to study courses. I was like, well, I mean, I'm sure there are techniques I'll pick up from it, but that's, it doesn't sound as exciting as like superheroes and
right.
like
You're still going to learn all those things, but what the research tells us is that we don't until we have a way to apply it, like it's not helpful. I can't just tell you here's your menu of resources to use, and when you use them. So I always think of My son was working for a marketing company in Denver, and they were trying to sell car batteries. You know, he's like trying to market car batteries for Napa or something, and he's like, it's so hard because it's not exactly an impulse buy, right? Like, so it's like that. You know, it's like here it is, and you know, it's like great. They have a great price on car batteries, but I don't need a car battery right now. And then when you need a car battery, it's an emergency, and you go to the first place and the easiest place you can find. And so what we want to do is create more authentic experiences where you're learning how to use the resources on campus while you're actually doing stuff that you're really interested in.
Yeah.
So that's the plan. That's the dream. We'll see
That's
how
great.
it goes. Yeah, pretty excited.
I have a question. I'm a parent.
Yes.
Yeah, so my daughter's going to she's signed at Shriner to shoot on the shotgun team, and she's going to come in as a sophomore level and double major in communications and business. And she has been excelling in her shotgun career such that she might be committed to going to Colorado Springs for a couple weeks in September. And as we've been talking to folks at Shriner, we were advised that if she were to miss a couple weeks of college courses, that she'd have to be talking to each of her professors about flexibility with missing class. So I'm just curious if you can address, or maybe you can tell me who we should visit with about that potential being gone for a couple weeks in September, because obviously we don't know who her professors are going to be for any of her classes at this point.
Right. And she won't register for classes until, I mean, it's not that unusual of an occurrence, right? And I'm from Colorado, actually, so I'm jealous that she'll be there in September. But like this happens, and I just usually, as long as they let me know ahead of time, kind of give me a heads up so I can make sure that I can have their work. You know, usually I have a lot of stuff posted online anyway, and so make sure that they have online ways to keep up with their work while they're gone.
Right.
I mean, the beauty of this entire craziness right now is we've all been online for half a semester. And so even professors who didn't love to do that are getting much better at it too. And we understand that that's part of the college experience, and that's part of having a life. And so as long as, for me and everybody that I know, of course I can't speak for everybody, but everybody that I deal with, it's, you know, as long as they get a heads up as soon as possible, and then kind of a couple of reminders, and then, okay, so can I, you know, take the test before I go or whatever? So it's not like she's gone for 2 weeks and then after the fact, it's like, hey, can I make that work up? Because, you know, that's really the situation that doesn't work. But being able to plan a little bit in advance is usually not a problem.
Sure. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, of course. Are you in Texas now?
Yep. Me?
Yeah.
No, my daughter is the LN, Leah Nelson, who's in the car going to the shooting range, and we're in Minnesota. And so our snow is finally melting that she can get out to the shooting range that's still about an hour and a half away from where we live. But yeah, like I said, she's came and visited Shriner back in October and met with the coach, and you know, actually I think she committed to Shriner last October. And with this coronavirus, her career was supposed to put her in Colorado Springs in June, and now we received word that they're switching all that to 2 to 3 weeks in September. And we're just like, geez, what are we gonna do about college, and how's that gonna happen? And you know, frankly, she had an experience where she was doing a dual enrollment at a college in Moorhead, Minnesota, and one professor frowned on the fact that she was going to miss 6 days of the fall semester, and we pulled her out of there and did online for spring semester. So I just want to make sure we're not going to have an issue if she were to be missing classes at Shriner a couple weeks in September due to no fault of her own, just because this, you know.
No, it happens all the time. And I've had shooting team members who have had to be gone for, they weren't school competitions, but they were, you know, doing Olympic trials or something.
Exactly.
It's part of life.
Yeah, that's what it all is. Thank you.
Yeah, so as long as she's pretty comfortable with kind of managing those multiple, you know, managing an assignment schedule while she's traveling or making those arrangements, if she's good about that, she'll be fine.
Yes, thank you.
Yes. And just let those profs know as soon as, I mean, Dr. Mora in communication is also pretty flexible. Like me, again, I wouldn't speak for him, but he does stuff online with students all the time too, so. Yeah. And I know I have another student who is just getting ready to graduate, and he's somewhere in the business department because he's a double major, and he got a full-time job this last semester. So he's even courses that weren't being offered online, a couple of instructors in that department worked with them to put that course online just for him. So he would still show up to take the test, but otherwise he was, so they've been pretty flexible too. I know with, he got a full-time job and he's getting ready to graduate. You don't want to, that's the goal in some ways. I mean, that's not the only goal, but hey, we don't want to stop him. We don't want to get in the way. We want to kind of help facilitate those things. And that makes us better. The more engaged we are, the better, happier we are, better students we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you'll find that people are very supportive of it. Anything else y'all want to talk about, know about? Are we over time? Do we have to stop because there are other places to go?
Well, Dr. West, I'm really glad you brought that up. If anything, we are a little over time, but I do have one question I want to touch on, because this is one that when I'm going through the admissions process of talking with students and even parents, when I tell them this part, I almost feel like they don't believe me. Their jaw hits the floor. They look in disbelief. So I want to ask this to an instructor, is really about how many students do you have per class, almost on average, whether it's a freshman class, sophomore, junior, senior. It doesn't have to be every single one, but just more or less, what is the average you have?
So in public speaking, I usually have about 20 students in there, about 18 students in a public speaking class. And then my other classes probably have about between 12 and 16, except for my interpersonal class, ironically. So we're starting to offer it more frequently because a lot of people needed it this last year, so we had to let 30 people in there, which is that's just unheard of. But they needed it to graduate, and so now we're offering it twice as often so that we can get back down to 20. So 20 is usually where we cap it, and usually it comes between like 12 and 16.
Okay, awesome. So if anything, what I take away from that is it allows you as the instructor to be more or less one-on-one with the students, as compared to some other place where it's you're going to be in a class of 200 or 300 or even, let's just say, 80. You're not a number. Here it's like you can actually reach out to the instructor. And going back to what Zach was really mentioning, or even just prerequisites, even your first 2 years of, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. I was right there too. Didn't know what I wanted, didn't know about my major. I picked one, and before I knew it, I was jumping from one major to the next. And what that should really tell you is that you can reach out to these instructors. They're going to be almost in every single class you're going to have, and you can talk to them. You can look into the field that they study best, that they know really well, and get a feel for it and go, you know what? I was looking into business and suddenly I like psychology. That's where my passion's at. Or I was in biology and now I'm into business and marketing. It's
or like, hey, I'm kind of interested. Can I do anything and come help you with some research just to see what it's like? Because we do a lot with undergraduate research, and so you can actually, that was unheard of where I went to school, to be able to work on any research with a professor as an undergrad. Even as a master's student, I only got to do it my very last semester. I mean, that was just, and here, I mean, that's what blows me away too. It's like, oh, well, do you want to come check out this project and see what you think about it? Not do it by yourself, but kind of see what it's like. So
yeah, that was one of the things. Sorry, that was one of the things that really sold me on Schreiner, is that the professors are really approachable. Like, I reached out to the biology professors, and both Dr. Caesar and Dr. Distel allowed me to come in and sit in on classes. And I'm even collecting dragonflies now on the Medina River for,
awesome.
For their project with the...
Right? We're so excited when people want to talk about stuff we're excited about.
I'm sitting on the edge of my seat like, Zach, come talk to me. I'm a biology undergrad. Let's talk about everything environmental. Let's go. But definitely, I just want to kind of if anybody has any last minute questions, please don't let me interrupt you. Don't let me feel like I'm cutting you off. Just let us know if there's any last minute questions.
Okay, so I had a last minute question.
Okay.
So I had this major that I wanted to do, and I know a lot of colleges charge you to change your major. How would that work at Schreiner?
You just sign a paper and take it over to your advisor, and they sign it, and then it's at the registrar, and it's done, and there's not a charge. That is so.
And
I've
that's
never
it.
even heard of that.
Yeah, some of them charge you to like change your major for some reason. So that's kind
Yeah,
of
you can
really
change your major as
iffy
many
for
times
me.
as you want.
You're good. You're totally fine to change your major. If one day you wake up and you're like business to psychology, by all means.
Communication,
Also,
whatever.
Oh, communication.
oh, yeah, no, I was kind of looking towards psychology. Also, there's another question I had about the double majoring. Like, how does that work also?
So, like I was saying earlier, psychology and communication. First of all, I sometimes describe communication as applied social psych, sort of. You know, it's a newer field, but it's really applying sociology and psychology concepts. And so we have a lot of double majors with psychology. Psychology has a big number of electives, as does communication. And so that frees you up, and then you can take 2 courses total that can count for up to 6 hours, which is usually 2 3-hour courses. So you just go through and take the class, you know, check off the boxes for both degree plans as you go. There's quite a lot of overlap because of the core. And we require a psychology class in our degree plan. They're adding a communication course, I think, in their degree plan. And so there's some overlap already, but then you can count 2 courses, up to 2 courses for both. Did that answer your question?
Yes.
It's kind of funny because with my psychology majors, psychology comm double majors, we'll talk about something and they're like, wait a minute, we just talked about this in, you know, psychology of family, and I'm teaching family communication. And so we're like talking, you know, they kind of overlap and talk to each other too. So that's kind of fun.
I just had a quick question.
Yeah.
If I live here in Kerrville, because I work at Peterson and I also work at Hilltop, but if I live here in Kerrville, if I'm attending Schreiner as a freshman, would I have to live on campus, or could I stay at home?
And just be a commuter.
Yeah, whenever all of this clears up, if this is all cleared up by then, but
definitely completely understand. I do actually have a commuter application I can send you. Just make sure that we get in communications with those emails, and I did write your name down so that way I could just send that to you. So
okay.
No worries.
Yes, I'm about to. I was just now typing up the email right now.
You're good, totally fine. As soon as the live stream's done, you're gonna hit send. Like, Mike, you better get on it.
Pretty much.
Definitely, but I know we're just trying to wrap these up, but definitely if you guys have any questions, even after this live stream, even if it's 10 minutes afterwards, I always like to say 10 minutes because sometimes you think, oh, I should have asked this. This was a really great question, or maybe you're eating some brownies late at night. I'm just being honest. That's me. You're more than welcome to just send an email. You can send it to admissions with an S at Schreiner.edu, or you can send it to my own personal email, which is the mvasquez at Schreiner.edu. You're more than welcome to ask me any questions that you might possibly have, whether it's where am I at in my application, what can I do as my next steps. You're more than welcome to reach out to me. But again, we want to thank you for being a part of our Schreiner University live stream. We're having multiple of these events. You're more than welcome to visit our website to see these events, the future ones that we're going to be having. We really want you to be a part of those. But at the end of the day, if you have questions, reach out to us because we want to be here to help you out every step of the way of becoming a future Schreiner University Mountaineer.